So welcome to Caber76 Nerd and Gamer. This week's show is going to be a lot of fun. I have a great topic which I will get at in a little bit. I'm just going to go over my week in gaming. The wisdom of the Four Winds buff in the world of Warcraft. That is mainly how I've been spending my week. I am leveling up Horde characters and trying to catch them up to my Alliance characters because I am primarily an Alliance player and I like the Alliance better. And I moved my Horde a while back and started a lot of them over, so this has been awesome. I've been working on my mage trying to get her caught up, so I have a lot more I want to do. I don't know how long the buff is going to go for, but 50% increase is worth the time. It's just really cool to have it. So I did a lot of that, and let's see what else I did. I didn't really play a lot of swtor. I'm in a baseball simulation league. If you've ever looked for a simulation baseball league, Out of the Park Sports puts out some really cool simulation baseball and some other franchises. I love, I used to love baseball. I don't really follow it as much anymore, but this is the closest I'll ever get to it. I've been in this one online league for about 20 seasons, and it's just really cool. The people there are awesome. I'm having fun. I always do. So I played a lot of that. And then the main highlight I would say would be I tried out the Oculus. I played Vader Immortal, and now I've done VR before. I did the Void VR at Disney Springs in Orlando, and it was probably the coolest VR experience I ever had. It's still going to be the top, but this Oculus and Vader Immortal, and I haven't even tried anything else. I only played a couple minutes of Vader Immortal, but it was so freaking realistic. Like, you're in the ship, you're looking around. The robot, she's flying she's over here in the corner. She's flying the ship. In front of you is space. I mean, you literally feel like you're in the cockpit there. And when I turned around, like the stormtroopers are boarding the ship, and she's like, "Captain, put your hand out and scan it. You have to hide some stuff that we've been smuggling." And like, I didn't understand how to do it. And she's going, "Captain, please put your hand out. It's set to your biological scan. The scanner's in front of you." And it was really cool. The only part that kind of was weird to me was like, it felt so real. There was a time I wanted to go put my arm out like this and lean up against the wall, and my arm just went right through the wall. And I was like, oh yeah, this is fake. But it's amazing. Like, you're sitting on this ship, and when the door opens and the stormtroopers start coming in, like, I'm not even gonna lie, my blood was pumping. I was sweating. I felt like it was so real. I had to turn it off. When the Imperial Cyborg Commander came on the ship, I kind of was like, holy shit. And I had to like step back and like remind myself this was just a game. And he was about to bring Darth Vader in, so I'm going to try that out later on during the week. But damn, dude, imagine how crazy Vader's going to be when he's standing right there in front of you. Like, that's just crazy. Like, I'm psyched. It's awesome. I may have to break down and buy a Void. I may have to break down and buy an Oculus, because Oculus it's really good. And I was looking at some of the other games. There's some MMO games. There's a Blade and Sorcery game. There's a lot of travel things that let you visit different places. I'm pretty into it. I'm going to check it out a little bit more. But that was pretty much my week in gaming. That's what I did. Let's get right into the question this week. So this week's question is one of the ones that I think is going to be a fun question to go over. I started the question with one part, and I got answers that were kind of resorting to a two-part question. So this week's question is, what is your current favorite video game? Also list your top 5 of all time. Now, I got more responses out in this question than I've ever gotten anything. And it's a good question. I had to think about it, because my top 5 are probably different than a lot of people's top 5. And there was one game I really like and I really wanted to throw in there, but I didn't really play it enough to have it in my top 5. So it would probably be my 6th game, but I can list like freaking 10 to 20, But this is going to be a good question, and we're not even going to hold out. We're going to go right to it, because there's a lot of replies. So the first reply comes from Ahmadsumarri, who I probably butchered his name as usual, and he'll remind me every time. He says, well, currently it's Elder Scrolls Online, because there's so much to do and a ton of characters and zones. And they update it every 3 to 6 months and add new dungeons. Of all time, I don't know. I can maybe name 5 to 10. So we'll get into his top 5 in a minute, but I wanted to comment on Elder Scrolls, because Elder Scrolls Online is a freaking awesome game. I really do like it. It's just me, I play a lot of MMOs. And when I play ESO, Warcraft, and swtor, it's hard to balance it all out. I have an active ESO subscription, and I do log in and play it, but I don't play it as much as he does. It's his number one game. And ESO has awesome housing. You know, the characters are really cool. Creation's awesome. And I guess if we want to get into the top 5, we're going to go right down his list, starting with 5. So with 5, he's got Arcania of Time. And I probably messed that up because I've never heard of that game. Number 4, he's got God of War, which I heard is an awesome game. And again, I don't ever play it. Number 3, he's got The Last of Us, which is, I heard, just amazing. And Last of Us and The Last of Us 2. And I've not played any of them. So... Number 2, he's got Dark Cloud 2. Never heard of it. Don't know anything about it. And number 1, he's really going to pick on me for because I own it and I played a little bit of it, but never actually finished it. The Witcher 3, which I heard is awesome. And of course, I love the Witcher show, so you know there's no holdback there. But I heard The Witcher 3 is just an awesome game, so I'll probably need to get it. I'll probably have to get into it and play it a little bit more. But I was getting confused on the controls a little bit. But anyway, thank you, Ahmed. So the next one comes from the man that writes the music to our show and all of my videos, and if you haven't checked it out, definitely do. Sound Wizard LLC, aka the Electric Smurf, found at Sound Wizard LLC on Twitter. He says, I was gonna go system by system, but that's a lot of shit. There is a lot of systems out there that we grew up with, so I get it. So his top 5, going from 5 down. The number 5 is Star Trek Online on the PS4. Now, I love Star Trek Online. You know that I play with you, and my videos lately have been Star Trek. If you don't mind bad graphics and you like Star Trek Online, it's worth giving it a shot. It has some awesome combat with the ship combat. It's a good ass game. I really do like it. Number 4 is Super Metroid on the Super NES. You know, I played a lot of that as a kid, and I'm barely remembering how that game goes, so I guess I need to refresh my memory. Number 3 is No Man's Sky on the PS5. I did play No Man's Sky on the PC with my buddy Jason for a little bit before they had any changes, and I had a hard time with it just because I'm not good with like first-person games, and I wasn't interested in it, but I do want to give it another shot, so maybe I will try it out again. Number 2, we've got Willow on the NES. Now that's weird because I don't think I've ever played Willow. I don't think I've ever played it on Nintendo. I'll actually have to watch some videos on that. And number 1, he's got A Link to the Past on Super NES. Now, A Link to the Past is just a freaking awesome game. I could have thrown it in my top 5, but I didn't. I lost a lot of my childhood to that game, so I can definitely see that one on there. It's an awesome game, so I definitely agree with you on that one. But it's not my number 1, but it's a good game. So thank you, Sound Wizard. The next one comes from Console at Console on Twitter. He said, currently, Overwatch. It's quick to the point and I can walk away. Now, I've tried Overwatch a little bit. Like I said before in previous videos and earlier in this video, I'm not big on first-person shooters. I can play them. I do kind of like them a little bit, but they're not my cup of tea most of the time, and I prefer third person. So I have a hard time with Overwatch, and PvP will drive me mad. I'll just like leave and go, oh, my head. So it's definitely not my thing sometimes. So his all-time 5, starting from 5, we've got Jedi Fallen Order, which I have, and I am on Dantooine, and I have not finished it. But so far, it's been a good game. I suck at solo games, man. I'm not as good as I used to be. Number 4, you've got Miles Morales, which I've never played, but I've heard amazing things about it. Number 3, he's got Mass Effect, which is a BioWare game, and a lot of people that play swtor play Mass Effect, and I've never played Mass Effect, so I'll have to give that a shot one of these days. Number 2, I tried to play this with him and his wife, EverQuest 2. Now, I'm not a big fan of EverQuest. I tried it and got frustrated with it, and I didn't like... Compared to World of Warcraft, I didn't like the art. I didn't like the style, so it wasn't really my thing. But I know a lot of people live and die by it, and it is a big favorite of a lot of people, so I can understand that for sure. His number 1 is Knights of the Old Republic, and hey, Knights of the Old Republic is a fucking awesome game, and Revan, the whole story of Revan and Malik. I mean, it's just awesome. And the companion system, you know, with the Twi'lek and the Wookiee, and it's an awesome game. I've played a lot of it. I've never finished it, but I've watched a lot of videos on it, and I've read a lot of stories, and I know how it all ends out. And I have it. I have it on my tablet, and I have it on Steam, and I just never actually finished it. I have a hard time when they're walking around with their lightsabers in their hands like this, and I'm like, put it on your side. And I know that's the dumbest thing, but it drives me crazy. But that's it. It's an awesome game. The story itself, I mean, Disney, you should take that game and make it a movie. I mean, there's no reason not to. It's a great story. The whole story of Revan would be amazing. Put it out in a couple movies. Get it out there. Like I think it's good. So you know, I agree. It's an awesome game. Thank you, Khan. So the next one comes from a name I will completely truly butcher. So I'm going to spell it out for you. EINARMJOKSIGLAND. Inar, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name. At Needfulmer, or Need FULMR. Either way, I butchered it, messed it up, and you can all get a good laugh out of it. But the graphic will be down here in the corner, and you'll see what the person's name is. They said Metal Gear Solid, great story and great characters. Oh, and great dialogues. Hey, Metal Gear Solid is one of the best games. It would be on my top 10 for sure. Snake and Metal Gear, I love Metal Gear. It's an awesome game. It's one of my favorites. I remember playing it on the NES, and I think it was Sega. It's just a great game. It's awesome. Their top 5, Gears of War. Never played Gears of War. I don't know how good Gears of War is, so I've seen the graphic with the two guys on it, and I've never played it. Jedi Fallen Order. As I said before, I'm a big fan of Jedi Fallen Order. I just haven't finished it. It seems like it's a very cool game. I'm gonna finish it. Khan is always telling me what an awesome game it is. Number 3, Final Fantasy VII. You know, besides the original Final Fantasy Online and the other Final Fantasy, the newest Final Fantasy Online, those are the only 2 Final Fantasies I've played. I've played the online version of the original one, and I really like that. And then the online version of the new one it's just a great game. But I've never played any of the actual Final Fantasies. Number 2, Tomb Raider 2. I love Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider's an awesome game. I like the original Tomb Raiders. We always look for hacks in Tomb Raiders. I remember doing that a lot. Of course, number 1, as we said before, Metal Gear Solid. Awesome game. Definitely worth a number 1, for sure. Thank you. The next one comes from Ziani at Pandarin for Life. She says her top 5, starting from 5 down, is Old School Mario at number 5. Hey, Mario is one of my all-time favorites. It didn't make my top 5, but it is definitely on my top 10. I love Old School Mario. Number 4, Street Fighter. Old School Street Fighter. Hey, Old School Street Fighter, we used to play it at the arcade. It's just a blast. I remember always going into the arcade and playing with friends. It's a cool game. Number 3, Animal Crossing. I've witnessed you play Animal Crossing, so I know it's in your top 5. I've never played Animal Crossing, but I've heard a lot of people say it's good. Number 2, Yoshi's Story. I don't think I've ever played Yoshi's Story. I'll have to look at that. I don't even remember that. And number 1 is Mario Kart. That's how she settles arguments. Whenever we get an argument, she's like, you want to Mario Kart this? You want to play Mario Kart? Because I'll kick your ass in Mario Kart. And I'm like, sure. And then she wrote, all of them are fun, which is true. All of your top 5 are fun games. They're games you could probably play, except for Animal Crossing, just sitting around the living room, you know? Old school Nintendo games. So I can definitely see that. Thank you, Ziani. The next one comes from Emberia. She says, I guess currently it would have to be ESO mostly because it's a game I'm currently playing, LOL. I can vouch for that. I see you on it. I always see you on ESO. And no, I don't play. I'm usually on Star Trek with Electric Smurf, but I do see you on ESO. Her top 5 in no particular order. So she's not going in any particular order, but for the first one she put down EQ2, my first MMO experience. And I know you guys tried to get me into EQ. I never got into it, but it is a game a lot of people like. I have a couple friends that, you know, got into MMOs because of EQ. Number 2, The Witcher 3 on the PlayStation. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee here real quick. Like I said before, The Witcher 3 is a very cool game that I need to finish playing. Number 3, the Uncharted series on PlayStation. You know, I downloaded a bunch of Uncharted on my PlayStation, and I still haven't played it. And I know you told me I love it since I'm a history buff, and I like Indiana Jones. You've told me they're an awesome game, so I do want to play it. I do have to play a little bit more of the solo games. The next one, number 4, is Chrono Trigger, awesome early RPG. I have no freaking idea what that is, Imberia. No freaking clue. Number 5 is the Final Fantasy console version. All of them but 7 is my all-time favorite of the series. Oddly enough, I have never tried the MMO of Final Fantasy. Oddly enough, I've only played the MMOs of Final Fantasy, so I can never tell you how good those Final Fantasy solo games are because I've only played the MMOs, but I'll take your word on it since I know there's a complete crazy amount of people that love Final Fantasy. In fact, I think when I went to see the orchestra live, the gaming orchestra live, like Final Fantasy was a bunch of theme music they kept playing, so Final Fantasy has its following. It's definitely got a good following. Thank you, Imberia. Next one comes from Crypto at Crypto _ on Twitter. They said, favorite, WoW, World of Warcraft. Hey, you know me, I love World of Warcraft. Top 5, World of Warcraft, Hollow Knight, Mario Kart, Dead by Daylight, and Metroid. So, WoW is definitely one of my favorites. Hollow Knight I've never tried. Mario Kart's just an awesome, fun game to play. And I've heard a lot of people talking about Dead by Daylight, and I've never played it. I see a lot of people streaming it. It's like a big streaming thing. And Crypto said, we'll probably always have WoW at the top. Been playing it since the second week of the original release. Yeah, WoW is definitely on my top 5, for sure. Yeah, World of Warcraft is part of my life, man. I totally get it. I totally see it. I totally understand it. And thank you for your reply, Crypto. Appreciate it. So the next one comes from Asheran at Shadowblade Ash. Sorry if I butchered that. They said their current favorite is World of Warcraft. Wow. Their top 5, I love this in no particular order. So no particular order here. But their top 5 listed as Skyrim. Hey, Skyrim's a cool game, but as I said before, I'm not really into solo single player shooter type of slashing thing. I'm not into first person is what I'm trying to say and can't seem to speak. But yeah, Skyrim has got an awesome story to it. Zelda Breath of the Wild. I bought that for Ziani actually because I had heard really good things about it and I don't have a Switch and she does. She tried to get into it but she got frustrated, so maybe you could tell her that it's a good game. Number 3, World of Warcraft. You know it's on my top 5. Ultima 6. I've played Ultima Online. I don't know if I played Ultima 6, but Ultima Online I've played. And number 5, hey, this is on my top 10. No doubt about this one. GoldenEye on the 64. GoldenEye on the 64, Fred McVan, console, and Electric Smurf. We all have stories. It was part of our youth. We used to love playing GoldenEye. And the most awesome thing is, I have a 64. And my girlfriend, Ziani, for my birthday, bought me GoldenEye. So I'm ready to have a big GoldenEye party, and I love that game. Electric Smurf actually had it on his bachelor party, and we played it, and we were struggling because the graphics are terrible and the movement. You're trying to move that little joystick around, it's really tough. But yeah, GoldenEye is a top 10, without a doubt. Thank you for your feedback. Next one comes from Fred McVan at Fred McVan on Twitter. World of Warcraft is my favorite of all time. Next 4 games would be in order: Mega Man 2, Super Mario 3, Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 2. Grew up on Nintendo and have lots of memories there, but was big into fighting games. Would go down 7-Eleven and play all the arcade versions. Would go down to 7-Eleven and play all the arcade versions. Actually, yes, you did, because 7-Eleven was right by your house, so I remember. I love Super Mario's. So, Mega Man 2. Mega Man was a good one, too. I liked Mega Man. Street Fighter is always awesome. I never really got into Mortal Kombat, but I always watched everybody else play it, and Nintendo will always be part of my memories. I love Nintendo, so I want to get a classic NES in the worst way, and it's hard to find one, but I really do want one. Anyway, that's a good list, too. Very good list. Definitely like the Nintendo games myself. Thank you, McVan. Next one comes from Shantyman Gaming, at Shantyman Gaming. He said his current favorite, Elder Scrolls Online, with WoW being a very close second. I gotta tell you, Shanty, I didn't know what you were gonna say, because I see you posting on ESO, I know you got the podcast going with ESO, and I see you commenting a lot of WoW stuff, and I've seen some screens from WoW, and I've seen you put in some other games, so I was definitely not sure what you were gonna say. So, your top 5 of all time, and I guess this is in no particular order either. Final Fantasy VI, Persona 5 Royale, Pokemon, any but nostalgia for Red and Blue, Obliviation, despite the bugs, and WoW, with ESO being a very close 6th. I could definitely, I guess you actually had an order, so Final Fantasy VI would probably be your number 1, because it looks like you put WoW as the 5th, so I guess you do have an order to yours, but I love WoW. Obliviation's a good game. I did play a little bit of that. Pokemon, I've never played Pokemon. Persona Royale, I've never heard of. And like I said, I never really got into the Final Fantasy games, but I heard a lot. I mean, Iberia loves them. She always talks about them, and I have another friend, or I had a friend who used to love them. He used to play all of them. So yeah, pretty cool. Thank you, Shanty. So the next one comes from Zane Lionheart, Reaper of Souls, at Zane Lionheart on Twitter. Their list is very short. Final Fantasy XIV. I'm going to say that's your favorite game and you just didn't have any list, or you didn't want to list it, but Final Fantasy XIV is awesome. It is one of my favorite games. It would probably be on my top 10 for sure. I do love Final Fantasy. I just have a hard time with it. I don't like the zoning in it. I don't know what to say. Like, the little dots in Final Fantasy XIV kind of annoy me when you're going from zone to zone. And I know that's the stupidest, most pettiest bullshit, but for some reason it bothers me. So it doesn't get in my top 5. But it is an awesome game with awesome graphics, and the system's so deep, it's crazy. And customer service and content creators that actually care about the game, and a lead who loves that game. So it's definitely a good game, and I agree, it should definitely be in your top 10 for sure. Thank you, Zane. So the next one comes from Sai at Cyrub_KOC from Scrubs vs. the World. He said, my current favorite is World of Warcraft. I would have never guessed that, Sai. Never. Quickly becoming my favorite, Magic the Gathering Arena. Never played it. I've never even played Magic the Gathering at all. Like, even the card, like, I've never played it. I had people that used to play at the hobby store and the comic book store all the time. And he said the soon-to-be favorite F1 2022, which I'm guessing, and if I'm wrong, go ahead and let me know, but did you mean the Formula 1 game that's coming out for PlayStation, or am I just wrong on that one? Because I think that's what you meant, but I am not good with race car games, so I don't know. But if that is what it is, hey, I love sports games, so I'm always down. I'm a Madden fan. Madden would be on my top 10. So, anyway, thank you, Sai. I appreciate you reaching out and letting me know what your favorites are. The next one comes from Gwen the Bard at Gwen the Bard on Twitter. She said, currently it's Minecraft. Top 5 in no specific order. Elder Scrolls Online, Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye 007, Nancy Drew Blackmore Manor, and Skyrim. Now, there's definitely some good games on that list right there. Elder Scrolls Online is awesome. I've never heard of Banjo-Kazooie, and if I even said it wrong, go ahead and correct me. GoldenEye, hey, GoldenEye is a classic. It is one of the best games, and if you got a story with GoldenEye, then you've lived the fun times, you know? People kind of hanging out in the... What we used to do, they used to hang out in the vent, and we would go in the bathroom looking for them, and they had the golden gun, and they would shoot you with the golden gun from the vent. Yeah, it's an awesome game. Nancy Drew Blackmore Manor, never played it. In Skyrim, I've definitely dabbled into Skyrim, but I've never actually fully played it. But I know Skyrim's, it's a classic game that people love. So anyway, thank you, Gwen the Bard. Appreciate your response. So the last one, I think it is, comes from Charlie Plays WoW at Chiswick on Twitter. He said, current favorite, it's anyone's guess. Top 5, not including WoW. At number 5, we've got Spider-Man on the PS4. I gotta play that. I haven't played it, and I've heard really good things about Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Number 4, Super Metroid. Hey, Super Metroid's an awesome game. Number 3, Mega Man X, which I know is a Roman numeral for something and I'm drawing a blank. But Mega Man's always good. I actually remember Mega Man pretty well. Number 2 is Super Mario RPG. Now, I know this one came out on one of the... Was it the 64? I can't remember. But I know it was different than the regular Super Mario, and I remember kind of playing it, but I'm going to have to look it up after the show just so I can get a better idea of exactly what I'm remembering, because I'm remembering bits and pieces. And number 1 is Final Fantasy VII. Again, I wish I had more to say about Final Fantasy, but I didn't really dab into it. I've only played the online games, but it seems like it definitely has a following. I mean, it really has a good, big following, and that's awesome. So anyway, as always, Charlie, thank you so much for your responses. And now we're going to go into my thought on this. What would be my current favorite? I mean, it's going to vary, because last couple months it's been Red Dead Online. I love Red Dead Online, and I would always log in and play. But since the content drought and the fact that they don't seem to give two shits about the game has kind of steered me away from it, and I haven't played it in a while. Last month it was swtor. I'm a big swtor fan. I love swtor. I would say this month it would probably be World of Warcraft. So it varies for me. You'll always see swtor, Red Dead, WoW, or ESO in my top games per month. Like, it's just something I will always play. Now, my top 5, I want to say I'm an old school Nintendo person. Like, I love old school Nintendo, but the reality of it is I grew up as a PC gamer, so my top 5 are going to be PC games. I was always on the PC. When I was a kid, my grandmother bought me a Tandy back from the days of Radio Shack, and I was very big into Sierra Network games. I love Sierra. I've always loved Sierra. I was on the Sierra Imagination Network when it first launched. I've played Space Quest and Police Quest and Leisure Suit Larry and King's Quest and Robin Hood, and I just love Sierra games. I mean, I had the discs. I would run to Electronics Boutique, and back in the day when you would get the discs, and I was really into that. So Sierra is always going to be something big to me, and it just is. So I guess if I was to list my top 5, and I had to say that this 5th one was a tough one for me, because I really love the Robin Hood game from Sierra, but I didn't play it enough to put it on my top 5. It's one of my favorite games. It would probably be my 6th, but Red Dead Online right now would be number 5 to me. I don't care so much about Red Dead Redemption 2 as I care about Red Dead 2 Online. Red Dead 2 Online is definitely a game I've spent a good amount of time in. I love the Old West. It is one of my top 5s. I will probably play it till it sinks, even though it's starting to suck pretty bad lately. But it is definitely the 5th one for me. At number 4, I would put swtor, Star Wars: The Old Republic. I love swtor. I will probably play it too until it sinks. It is one of my favorite games. I love the story. I think BioWare did a great job. I really enjoy making Jedi and making Sith and playing the game, and I love Bounty Hunter, so it's definitely number 4 for me. Number 3 of all time it's World of Warcraft to me. I've spent the majority of my life playing World of Warcraft, my adult life at least, and I love it. I love World of Warcraft. I am very excited about Dragonflight. I liked Legion out of most of the newest expansions. I didn't like Shadowlands. But World of Warcraft it's just an awesome game, and I think they're going in the right direction with Dragonflight. I know that Blizzard Entertainment had some controversy, and I don't agree with a lot of what they did, especially to women. And I'm glad that they're trying to clean things up and fix things as it needs to happen. But World of Warcraft as a game is definitely one of my top 5s. And number 2, as I said earlier, I'm a big Sierra fan, so this game is very close to a number 1 for me. I spent a lot of my youth playing this game. I've done all 3 of them. The 4th one, but the Police Quest collection from the Sierra Network or Sierra Games. I love Police Quest. Sonny Bonds will always have a spot in my heart. I love that game. I love the original. I have all of them on CD, and I ripped them to my my computer. I still play them. I will probably stream or do a video on all of them. I didn't play the SWAT one as much as I played the other three. I think the third is my favorite. It had the best graphics of it all, but I do like the scuba diving. I think it was in the first one or the second one. But it was cool. Like it's just a good game. It always had a good story. It showed you what it was like to be a police officer. It was written by a police officer. It's a good game. And if you've never played the Police Quest games, you really need to play them. They're awesome. And my number one that probably ruined my life, probably made me more into MMOs than any other game, and will always be number one to me is Star Wars Galaxies. Star Wars Galaxies, SWG, by far is my all-time favorite game. I love it. I like it way more before the NGE, but I still play the emulator. I love Star Wars Galaxies. I remember the first time I got into that game, and I was on me and my friend Dave. We made characters and we played on a server, and I think it was the Corey server, and we started off on the planet Rory, which was a moon to, I think, Endor, and we never left. We would just hang out in this planet. We didn't know there was this whole huge world, and we would hang out there and we would talk to the doctors as we were getting buffs, and we would go hunting, and we were working on our skills and trying to run around in circles trying to work on our pistol skills. And one day we left and we went to Naboo, and that's kind of when it all started. And we saw our first, oh, I know I did, I saw my first Jedi, and that was it for me. I wanted a Jedi was a very rare thing to have in that game. And when you were a Jedi and used a lightsaber in public, bounty hunters would then be notified that there was a Jedi on the bounty board and they can go kill them. And I saw this Jedi beat the crap out of a bounty hunter in the middle of Naboo, and I was just like, I want to play this. And then I got so into becoming a Jedi and wanting to become a Jedi, and I unlocked Jedi, like, I want to say, right before, literally before the Force-sensitive village hit. But it's my all-time favorite. It's the best game. I think Sony ruined it. I have a hard time playing it now too because of the way the characters move around and things like that. But it's an awesome game. It's one of my games I will always remember as a youth. I put a lot of time into it. It ruined a relationship for me. I had a girl I was dating because I spent so much time trying to play it. I would go in the next day to work and I'd be exhausted because I got into it. I met a lot of cool people who I no longer really speak to anymore, but it's my favorite. It's my all-time favorite, and that's pretty much my list. They're all computer games. Like I said, I love old school Nintendo, but my life has always been based around computer games. I've always loved computer games. So anyway, this was a fun show. I think it was really fun having all of you guys respond and all of you guys talking about it and giving me your top 5, and maybe next time we can do top 10, So thanks again, everybody. I had a really good time, and I'm going to get this, posted and get the question up again. So make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments on Twitter or YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and like the videos. It always helps. Thanks again.